Hello, fellow YouTubers. Lady WC Stop Motioner here. Welcome to viewers new and old. And today, I decided, since I've owned him for over a year now, I'm going to bust out Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe Class Breakaway. I got this guy at Forgotten Toy Box, and I didn't get around to opening him. I wasn't planning on keeping him in the box for this long, but as it got closer to August this year, I just thought maybe I can just go ahead and open it like after I own it for 1 year. You can see some residue from the price sticker. So for the packaging, it says Revenge of the Fallen. He's level 3 advanced conversion, and yet ages 5 and up. Interesting. Description, it says serving in an army of robots tied to the ground makes Breakaway unique. He is one of the very few among the elite Autobot flyers, and he is unmatched for speed in a straight line. While other pilots focus on aerial acrobatics that confound the enemy, Breakaway is content to speed over a fight at seemingly impossible velocity, releasing bombs and missiles that strike their targets before the thunderous boom of his passage can catch up. So there he is in robot mode and fighter jet mode. It's a spinning Gatling cannon. He has the Mecha Live gimmick. He has a 6 in strength, a 7 in intelligence, a 10 in speed, a 7 in endurance, a 7 in rank, an 8 in courage, an 8 in fire blast, and a 4 in skill. So he's pretty good, other than skill, apparently. From what I understand, there's like 2 versions of this. Like there's one that has a brighter tan, and there's one that has a darker shade of it. I seem to have the darker one, which I'm glad about because this looks better anyway. There's been rumors about this guy being in Studio Series, which I do hope happens. I don't know if I'll like it more than this figure because I've heard pretty good things about this figure. I'm looking forward to checking him out. Got some Cybertronian dialect on the sides. Well, on this side has an Autobot symbol. There he is right there. All right. This is the longest I've kept a Transformer in the box. This is going to hurt a lot of people. If it's of any consolation to those people, even me being someone who isn't a mint and sealed box collector, this is going to kind of hurt me too. All right, here we go. Okay, come on. Cooperate with me. Don't make this anticlimactic. Wow, this is not working well at all. There we go. All right. Here he is. So, let's get into the review. Okay, so before we get into the review itself, just want to show something. This just takes me back. I wasn't actually into Transformers right when this figure came out, but I still got into it around the time they were doing this, when they just include cross sales and such for Human Alliance Bumblebee. That just takes me back. There's some other figures from the line. There's the Leader Class Optimus. I might need to get these Human Alliance figures. Do I actually need them? No, but I've heard they're like really good. So, who knows? Anyway, onto the figure itself. I really like it. It's a pretty nice looking jet mode. And unlike a lot of jet Transformers, as we all know, those tend to be kibbly, but this one honestly doesn't look too bad. I mean, yeah, there is kind of some color clashing going on, like especially right here and here. And he's got retractable landing gear, which is nice. This front wheel does roll. Come on, focus. There we go. It does roll, just not like when you actually push it down. He's got this one thruster on the back. And you sort of have access to his Gatling gun here, rotating it, but I don't know what that's going to do, really. And he does have an opening cockpit, and there's his face in there. It's interesting when that happens. So, for comparisons, here he is this might be a weird comparison, but just having with a slightly more recent figure. Here he is with the Revenge of the Fallen Starscream from Studio Series, which is also a pretty decent jet mode. I have not reviewed this figure yet, so hopefully I will someday. Either way, there's your comparison for jet mode. And I do really dig this color scheme, and this just darker color looks way better than the tan version, the bright tan version. This just is so much more visually pleasing. See, he's got an Autobot symbol there. And the nose cone is rubbery, of course. So I think that about covers the jet mode. So now we can move on to the transformation. And the transformation is really interesting in a good way. So first off, just go ahead and retract the landing gear and just come here and then fold this forward. And you grab this right here, angle it back, and you forward some more. You just come right here, pull this up, and the legs are just going to come untabbed. So then you can turn this forward a little bit. Just go ahead and separate the arms, fold them forward like this. Just while you can get to more easily, go ahead and fold the cockpit back and fold the nose cone down. And then just rotate the wings up. And right now, this section isn't locked in place too well. Of course, it wants to prove me wrong, but yeah. Let's go ahead and fold this up. And there's just a hook right here that goes on this right here. Go ahead and fold these up. And now that torso section is definitely secured in place better, so you can move the arms more freely. Then the legs, I'm not really sure why you fold that up, but I just go ahead and do it just because I'm that way, I guess. You just go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Get the heels and feet straightened out. Fold this up. Make sure we got everything situated right. And when you're done, there's Breakaway in his robot mode. And this is just such an interesting looking robot mode. It's a shame we didn't see him actually show up in the movie. I get the feeling he was planned to be originally going to be a fairly big part of the movie because he showed up in most of the games they made for Revenge of the Fallen. I thought he was pretty cool in those. So once again, there's a head sculpt. He's got kind of like Bambi eyes going there, which is interesting. He kind of looks like a fighter pilot with the helmet and everything, which I think is neat. He's got the Gatling gun on this side, which you can rotate. And the legs, I have them configured like this to have kind of the chicken legs. And one thing I find interesting, there's a pin right here in his foot, and you can kind of see part of it on this side, but there's like nothing there. There's like nothing going into it. Like, what is the deal with that? Was he supposed to have toe articulation? That is very odd. I'm not sure what happened there. And yes, you can see his wings and such on the back, but I honestly kind of like that look. Again, it feels more unique. Now for comparison, again, this might be a little odd, but here he is just with a more recent Deluxe. Another figure I need to review. But yeah, at the head, he's honestly about the same size as modern Deluxes, but with all the jet kibble on him, he's definitely taller. Now for his articulation, head, it does have articulation, but of course, due to the design, can't really use it that much. I have heard about there being some sort of mod you can make to this figure where you can actually have head articulation, which I might try to do someday. I really don't have a ton of experience in that, area, but maybe I will someday. Shoulders are on ball joints, designed to do a full 360, but of course they're going to collide with the wings. Then there's the Mech Alive gimmick, which is on both sides. Elbows can pull up pretty much exactly a 90. Then you have hand articulation due to the transformation. Now the waist is weird. I've seen this before, but it's still weird. He's got that issue where if you have this section down, you can get to the waist articulation, but that doesn't look very good. Like, this definitely looks better, but then the waist is locked in place. So yeah, clearly they were planning on giving him a waist swivel and they just didn't remove it when they added this part. So, oh well. Legs can go forward that far and back that far. You have thigh rotation, which is a little tight. Then knee bends aren't great, but good enough, I guess. Then you have articulation here. You got toe and heel articulation. Now here's the nice part. Ankle pivot. Really good ankle pivot. Just, you don't really see ankle pivots too much on pre-Siege era figures. So yeah. Articulation on this guy, it's pretty good. Aside from the waist and the head, he does pretty much everything I think he'd wanted to do. You can still get some decent poses out of him. So let's see. I covered the look at the jet mode, the transformation, the robot mode, comparisons for both modes. I think that about does it for this figure. So I'll go ahead and stick him on the display. Okay, so there's Breakaway with my Bayverse Autobot display. And I think it looks cool there. I like having characters like him that were cut from the movie. So even if he was cut from the movie, is the figure still worth getting? I would definitely say yes. The thing that impresses me the most about him is he doesn't really have any taps. Nothing really clicks firmly into place. It feels like it just kind of all rests together. And yet, I really don't have any major tolerance issues with this figure. I still feel like he holds together pretty well. And he looks really good in both modes. And the articulation in robot mode, it still holds up pretty well. Aside from the head and the waist, and not all Transformers have good waist or head articulation, even nowadays. So, yeah, I still think it's pretty solid. Now, if you do want to get this figure, he's not horrible on the aftermarket. I was able to get this guy. He was either 35, somewhere from 35 to 40 sealed, which is pretty good because I just looked on eBay today, at least at the time of this recording, and I saw him sealed for $100. Yeah, he's not worth that. He goes for about 40 loose generally, and I don't really know if there's any sort of price difference in between this one and the lighter tan version, but definitely get this one. This one looks way better. Now, of course, that's just what I think of the figure. As always, please be sure to comment down below what you think of the figure. And if you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and God bless.